And our first story, this story coming out of the Ashanti region, where residents of Nyameni in the Mansia West district of the region have threatened to retaliate the death of 4 people who fell into an abandoned mining pit. The area was the scene of a gun battle 3 years ago between inhabitants and some Chinese nationals who were engaged in illegal mining. Joy News is learning tension is building up in the area as a result of the deaths in the pits left behind by the illegal miners. Selected Member of Parliament for the area, Albert Joseph Kwam, says the people are angry because of the failure by government and the District Security Council to deal with the menace. He joins us on the phone now. Good evening to you, sir. Now, can you please tell us more about these deaths in your constituency? Hello, sir. If you can hear me, this is Joy News Prime, and I'd want you to tell us more about these deaths in your constituency you say related to abandoned pits.
Good evening.
Good evening. So tell us more about these deaths in your constituency.
Yeah, it is very sad. For almost 4 years now, people have been falling into pits. People have been falling into deep pits because of this illegal mining. And those people who are doing this illegal mining have failed in reclaiming most of the land. Yesterday, some people came to my house and were complaining bitterly. So they came with TV3. I went to Nyadieya to see what is actually happening there. It's so appalling. To be honest with you, for about 1 acre, 1 kilometer square of land has been degraded by these illegal Chinese miners. And the people were threatening to go on demonstration. Why? Because about 2 months ago, they claimed these same illegal Chinese miners came to their end, they destroyed their land, and they didn't cover up the pit. And as a result of that, some residents have fallen into the pit. And because of this, they are not going to allow these people to work.
Right. Now, when was the last incident, these deaths you're talking about? When was the last?
That's about 1.5 months now at Nyadieya.
All right, but you're talking about, you're suggesting that there are about 4 of these deaths. When did these occur? Over which period?
No, one occurred at Abore, one also occurred at Manson Kwanta proper, and one also occurred at Nyadieya, and another one also occurred at Nyamebekre, right? Now, the situation is that they failed to cover up the pit. That is the problem we are talking about now. Now, when we went to the scene, they were telling me that the DC has set up a task force and were coming around to collect money from them. That's what they told us.
The task force has been going around to collect money from them for what purpose?
That after the illegal mining, they are going to, after illegal mining, the DC will make sure that the land will be reclaimed. So right now, the person who is causing the major, the person who is in charge of this illegal mining, who is the major cause of the illegal mining, is the DC, because he has set up a task force who are going around collecting money from these illegal Chinese miners. And as such, after closure of mines, he collects so much to the extent that he has been telling them he will reclaim the land. But almost all the land have not been reclaimed. And that is what I'm talking about now.
But at least,
now,
are you suggesting that some land at least has been reclaimed?
Everywhere. If you go around from pit to pit, if you go around, no, they have not reclaimed anywhere. They just take their money, 40,000, 50,000, 100,000, that they are going to use this money to reclaim the land. And they don't do that. I'm giving you a classical example. If you go to Nyamibetre, around Masresu area, what happened about 4 months ago is that one illegal miner decided not to pay the money. As such, the DCE and his cohort shot the person for him to die.
All right.
And even up to now, the police did not take any action. They didn't do anything about it.
And how about the District Security Council?
District Security Council is being headed by the DCE.
What do you intend to do about this tension you say is building up in the area?
No, right now, I've spoken to them. I instructed the illegal miners to stop their activity, because if they continue to do that, the people can also take the law into their own hands.
And have they listened to you?
Yes, they have. They have. But again, I was also telling them that I am a land reclamation expert. To me, I feel that the way forward for the indigents to have some of the lands to do small-scale mining is to make sure that government to review all the mining permits that have been given, because that is the major cause of illegal mining.
All right.
They issue this prospecting license to the people who are in charge of the concession, divide these prospecting, talking about their area of concession. They divide them into small-scale holdings and then sell them to these illegal miners for them to use them to do the illegal activity.
Okay.
But I'm of the view that if right now we review the mining law, we can revoke some of their licenses, make sure that these licenses will be taken away from them. After that, we will also make sure that we will review the law, make sure that we divide it into small-scale mining holdings.
Okay.
So that the land can become available for the indigents to have access to do small-scale mining, which can be regulated.
Thank you very much, Mr. Albert Joseph Kwam. He's the MP-elect for Manso Nkwanta. Thank you very much. We're moving on to other stories. And elsewhere, 2 police officers at the Kwehu in Kwetia Police Station have been detained by the Nkoko Divisional Police Command following the death of a suspected drug dealer in custody. Emmanuel Atiobi died at the Nkwetia Police Station, where he was being detained for allegedly tipping off some drug dealers about an intended police swoop on a crime ring at Kwehu. Detective Corporal Dominic Afram and General Constable Vincent Tinati are believed to have been negligent in the discharge of their duties, resulting in the death of the suspect. Correspondent Maxwell Kudoko joins us more with this. Good evening to you, Maxwell. How exactly did this happen? Is it the case that the suspect was assaulted by the police officers?
Well, good evening, Israel. The whole incident started on the 29th of December 2016 during the Helotide. It started when the police at Nkwetia intended to embark on a swoop at some areas where they believe drug dealers have been trading. According to information, one Emmanuel Atiobi, 46-year-old farmer, allegedly gave a hint or a tip-off to the drug dealers and was subsequently arrested by the police for obstruction of police officers on duty. However, his arrest did not stall the intended operation the police wanted to embark on. So the police went on and carried the swoop and were arrested a number of suspected drug dealers. However, the suspected drug dealers were released after their arrest, or they were granted bail, whilst the person who allegedly gave tip-off to the dealers was still in custody. Information have it that on Sunday, 1st of January this year, Emmanuel Atiobi, 46 years, the man who allegedly gave tip-off to the drug dealers, was still in custody. So after going through frustration at the court and after being maltreated at the court, at the police, they started acting funnily and started distracting some washing bays in the police shed. So the two police officers, namely Detective Corporal Dominic Afram and then General Constable Vincent Tinati, opened the cells and tried to call him into order. So in the process, they allegedly assaulted him and then handcuffed him. So after a while, they realized that Emmanuel Atiobi is gradually becoming weak. So they rushed him to the TBA government hospital and was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. So the matter was referred to the Nkoko Divisional Police Commander headed by Chief Superintendent James Tafu, and then he subsequently ordered the two junior officers be detained at the police station. Today, the issue was referred to the Eastern Regional Police Command, and the regional commander, according to the police PRO, Mr. Nketia Eboa, have ordered that the two officers should be interdicted for further investigation. So as I speak with you, Detective Corporal Dominic Afram, General Constable Vincent Tinati have been interdicted by the Eastern Regional Police Command for acting unprofessionally towards the demise of Emmanuel Atiobi, who is 46-year-old. The station officer in charge at the Nkotia Police Station, Inspector Abdullabi, is also said to have been negligent in discharge of duty. So he will also have to answer some questions.
All right, Maxwell, what has been the reaction of the deceased suspect's family?
Well, I had an interview with the head of family for the deceased, Openi Kofi Safu, who happens to be the head of the deceased family. He tells me that the family is not taking the issue lightly at all, but he was convinced that the police administration will be up and doing and ensure that justice is given where it is due. He said the deceased have 3 kids who are at a tender age, so he is wondering how the children will survive. So they are expecting that the police administration will ensure that the children that was left behind will be taken care of from now till they complete their tertiary education. He is hopeful that the police will speed up investigation and ensure that the justice has been delivered.
All right, thank you very much, Maxwell Kodoko, reporting from the Eastern region. Now, a 38-year-old woman fell from the 3rd floor of a 4-story building after her husband allegedly pushed her violently last night at Bantama in Kumasi. Rotsewa suffered life-threatening injuries and was rushed to the Konfanoche Teaching Hospital in critical condition. Kwesi Debra reports.
Eyewitnesses say the suspect, Kofi Amuako, pushed Ruth, the mother of one, during an altercation at about 8 p.m. Monday. Neighbors who described the man as a calm person are left in shock by the incident.
So what I saw that I was carrying a lady. They put her in front of me. Not knowing other guy too was going for a taxi. So when they came, we all helped to put the lady inside the taxi. So the son of both culprits, he's about 70 years old. He said, if my mother died, I would die again because my father is a foolish man, he's behaving.
Kofi Amuako, however, suggests Ruth ran towards the corridor and seeing him enter the house from outside. He explains in an attempt to avoid him, apparently from failing to cook, she tipped over and fell. Ruth's mother, Alice, alleges the man has been abusing her daughter, who suffered eye injury in one such attack recently. She suspects a housing project the woman is undertaking could be at the center of the conflict.
Woma wo baby wo manai enti me sa me de wodine ka ho ebe wi ase no woma be ka se edan no me ne wodia enti me an ma tu me susu ene ma akoto me prot enti o ka sa no Say a habema, until they will huni a beman who I just a mebanesia, where you do lenten cra a menevi. To Kuhuni yana ya. Fedi we are secra was said there, Bridge and Nino, ya way down me ban and panano. Me baying can be shame, Danuka Saran maybe. To was anti-mewu, then was Kofina Habome. What the tradia bommy bay ham and a new hono. Namsi a nanya, Yammy nadding. Nami free when you are mamma, and one mobile. The acquire your quincy, Nabeman, so yes, will be symmetry. Can't you be so bring a little raw for pre-prano to our banner man or have a bonamani. Tia by an edge, and me, my man, so my friend warm. Your coy, a cartoon if you're not as I ask some pa. And edge, the call report here.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
Watching Joy News Prime, we're taking a break. When we come back, 11 heads of state and government are expected to grace the inauguration of Nana Akufo-Addo as the next president of Ghana this Saturday. Stay tuned, we'll be back in a bit. Now, 11 heads of state and government are expected to grace the inauguration of Nana Akufo-Addo as the next president of Ghana this Saturday at the Independence Square here in Accra. It is said to become possibly one of the most protected ceremonies in the modern political history of Ghana, with the deployment of a total of 5,000 security personnel, including members of the armed forces. Spokesperson for the transition team for the incoming government, Kojo Nkrumah, gave the following details about the security arrangement at a joint news conference earlier on Tuesday.
Our friends from National Security and the security agencies are providing us with about 5,000 men and women drawn from various security agencies, military, police, national security, etc. As we mentioned, access to the various circles will be strictly on accreditation basis, and we ask people who are coming in to expect some sort of screening in the light of the times in which we live, and to kindly cooperate with the security agencies during these screening exercises. No offensive weapons are allowed anywhere near the perimeters that we are talking about. Security will be on very high alert, and so we are asked to inform all persons who have nefarious intentions to desist from it, because security will have to deal with you very firmly.
Now, co-chairperson of the transition team of the incoming administration, Shirley Ayakoboche, gave the following update about confirmed foreign dignitaries set to attend the ceremony.
We will be receiving 11 heads of state and government, 2 vice presidents, 13 government representatives, 5 international reps of multilateral organizations, and a number of ex-presidents from West Africa and other parts of the world. Let me add that this is not expected to be the final figure. We will have the final figure about 24 hours to the event. They will be met at the airport and chaperoned to the venue. That is those who will come on the day of the event. And of course, those who will come a day before or days before the event will also be met and will be seen to the accommodation that has been prepared for them. For West Africa, we have a number of countries that have so far indicated their acceptance to be at the event. We have Côte d'Ivoire. The president will be here. And also to say that His Excellency Alhassan Ouattara, President of Côte d'Ivoire, will be the special guest of honor at the event. We will have Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, ECOWAS Chair, President of Liberia, She will be present as well. We will have the President of Guinea, Nigeria, Benin, Togo, other countries in Africa on the continent. We have Gabon, Zambia, and other countries. Also, we'll have prime ministers from Ethiopia, and a couple other countries. And then we have the international agencies as well. We have some speakers coming in to represent their country, speakers of parliament. And then we have all the other multilateral agencies being represented, such as the WHO, such as FAO, such as UNAIDS, and so on and so forth.
But before the inauguration itself can happen, the new parliament must first be sworn in. Employment Minister Haruna Idrisu, who is also MP for Tamale South, says they expect the new parliament to be in session just after midnight of January 7.
The event will start off in Parliament between 10 p.m. and at dawn 12 midnight to 1 a.m. My first message is to you, ladies and gentlemen of the media, that pursuant to the 1992 Constitution and the Transition Act of the Republic of Ghana, all is set for the inauguration of the President-elect Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Vice President-elect Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia before Parliament, beginning 6th January midnight. Parliament will usher in the new members of Parliament-elect who would be sworn into office as members of Parliament, after which the Speaker and Deputy Speakers and leadership will be determined accordingly. And Parliament will then reconvene at the directive of Mr. Speaker at the Independence Square for the major ceremony of the inauguration of the President-elect, subsequent to the presidential and parliamentary elections that were conducted on 7th December, and the outcome of it respecting the sovereign will of the people recognized by the Electoral Commission of Ghana.
Now, the outgoing government may have invested heavily in the power sector in response to the power crisis that faced the country during its time. Notable amongst the interventions are the Merry Deal and the Car Power Barge. In spite of these, the Africa Center for Energy Policy has warned that Ghana could experience another episode of the crisis due to a potential disruption in gas supply, a projection the outgoing government has dismissed. But former VRA boss Dr. Charles Reku is, however, advising the incoming administration not to blame the John Mahama government for any future disruptions to power supply.
But all I'll say to President Akufo-Addo is that if they do so at midday on the 7th of January, it is not Mahama's fault.
It is his fault.
MPP's fault. So the important thing is to make sure that whatever you need to do to ensure that when the baton is passed to you, you are able to sustain power supply.
But why would you blame him on December 7 midday if the power goes off? Hold on. If the power goes off, why would you blame him? Because at that time, he has not begun taking any decisions yet. But he's not implementing. The administration begins after his swearing in.
MFA, please. It's not me. Maybe I can understand. But there's so much expectation. You know, well, the point I'm trying to make is that
the badges, the car power.
The badges are merry and all those kind of things. It was necessary, and in fact, I remember supporting the idea of an emergency solution for an emergency. For me, looks to maybe a 9 to 12 month injection, but to go and sign contracts that commit us for 10 years, that's not emergency. That is actually tying our hands. So there was and those costs have fed themselves into the end user cost. You know, I'm increasingly hearing of people who run industries and commercial outfits who, because of doing so, or had to invest in generators. And now they are finding that because they've invested already in generators, it is cheaper for them, of the order of 2 or 3 times, to just buy fuel and run their generators than to pay the tariffs that ECG is charging them. So the idea is that what really is the point of providing sustainable grid power if the consumers find it cheaper
using their generators?
Their own, that really is where the policy, I think, failed. I would have expected, and I expect the new government to have a policy which we used to have when we were getting a lot of assistance, of open tendering, so that the best and mostly cost-effective solutions are procured and deployed. Because everybody is crying about the cost of tariffs. But you have an arrangement whereby you have brought in expensive short-term solutions which are no longer short. They should have been short, but they become long, medium to long. And you are, let me give a specific case, for example, America. The government tied itself with providing fuel for running those plants. We are in no position at the moment to provide the fuel, the gas that America requires, because the FPSO is going away for repair. And you've tied us into a take or pay contract. So whether you provide the gas or not, you have to pay America for their plant sitting around doing nothing. Those kind of things I don't think are in our nation's best interest. And it is not a question of did the government seek emergency solutions. Yes, they did seek emergency solutions. Were those the right solutions in terms of what you define as an emergency, in terms of cost and duration? No. So I think, but you don't come into office with your hands on your head saying, hey, Crofone, this is what I came and met. You deal with the situation and say, come on, maybe for the next 6 months, this very expensive toy machine sitting in Takoradi will not deliver power. So that is 250 megawatts or whatever, that is not there. But how do I ensure that there is an alternative arrangement to provide or fill in the void that the 250 megawatts would have provided? Those are what I think the solution.
National Head of the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty LEAP program, Jigbodi Agbekono, says the target for the program this year is to affiliate with the Health and Education Ministries to offer services to its beneficiaries. Ms. Agbekono explains this will better the lives of the poor and vulnerable. He spoke with Joy News after the commissioning of a 1.3 million cedis World Bank supported facility for LEAP in Accra on Tuesday. Hanodame has more.
So what should we expect from LEAP?
I think as far as LEAP is concerned, the bolt and nut are working very well. I mean, the delivery machinery is getting to near perfection. What new thing do you expect in going forward? I think for those of us at the LEAP Management Secretariat, we are an implementing unit of government policy. But from our perspective, we believe that we should take LEAP to the place where we begin to link LEAP beneficiaries to other productive, inclusive, complementary services. Especially there are people in the LEAP household who are not LEAP beneficiaries, who are able-bodied and can work. We should try and link these people to other productive, inclusive, complementary services to make them increase the income of the household. Also, we can also do linkages in area of nutrition and as well. So we are talking about, we think that the next frontier as far as LEAP is concerned should be these linkages, both to productive inclusive linkages and also other health linkages. Currently, the linkage, the strong linkage we have is with regards to the national insurance, national health insurance scheme, where we try to link LEAP beneficiaries to the scheme free of charge. And this year we did a project where we hook on about 90,000 LEAP beneficiaries onto the scheme. So, and if you look at research finding from independent organizations like CDD and even ISE and all, it tells you the impact, and other civil society organization, it tells you the impact LEAP is making in the area of health. But we can really expand these linkages to other areas. So we believe that should be the next frontier as far as the program is concerned.
I was going to ask that because I didn't understand it really. Which other areas do you want to link to?
I'm saying the area of health, we can deepen that further.
With which organization? Ghana Health Services?
Yes, Ghana Health Services. Then we bring in the bit about nutrition.
How exactly would that be factored in?
No, we just have to develop programs in the area of nutrition, and because most of these LEAP beneficiaries, they belong to very extremely poor households. Some of them, nutrition is a problem. So we can even bring Ghana Health Service in, where we have program for LEAP beneficiaries to boost their nutritional level. And as I said earlier, there are people in LEAP households who are able-bodied, but they are not LEAP beneficiaries. Those people, we can link them to other productive activities. So they
now that's Hannah Odame speaking to the National Health of LEAP, Jugbodi Agbe Konu. Now, despite complaints by beneficiaries that the amounts given to them are woefully inadequate, Gender Minister Nayo Lethe says the initiative has gained international recognition as the best support for the vulnerable in Ghana.
Current status of LEAP. In 2013, we had 71,000 households. Now we have 213,000 households. And that is what informed Cabinet to approve of turning LEAP from a unit under social welfare to a fully run, fully fledged program that has an auditor, an accountant, and all that there has to be, because now they are catering for approximately 1 million Ghanaians. The current status is that it's scored A+ by DFID in terms of its operations and implementation of its programs. That is really very good. And consistently, we have paid beneficiaries in all the 216 districts. Now we've covered all the 216 districts. First, we did not. It started with just about 20. Now we are in 216 districts. So every 2 months, beneficiaries are paid their LEAP. And in terms of that, we don't have any arrears. There are no gaps. There are no arrears. Pregnant women have been added on, and women with children under 2 years. We have 6,000 pregnant women and women with children under 2 years that have been added on so that they get adequate nutrition.
Now, the fire service is warning it may find it difficult to adequately tackle a major fire in Accra due to the lack of water in most of the city's hydrants. There have been some incidents in the last few days, with more anticipated due to the current Harmattan conditions, and the service has intensified its public education drive. Deputy Head of Public Relations at the Fire Service, Prince Billy Anaglate, says that dried-out hydrants pose a real challenge and must be addressed. He spoke with Joy News' Mama V. Osobwaje.
So hydrants, we have a hydrant specification of every 100 meters interval. That should be along the roads and even scattered in the communities. That when you get into a community when there is fire, as soon as we start fighting the fire with the water in the tender, for us to have uninterrupted water supply, we quickly connect the delivery hose to the hydrants that would give us water. But in the absence of this, that we don't have the specification of 100 meters interval hydrant, We get into communities, you don't even have the hydrant that you have to use. You get into some, you have the hydrant, but water is not passing through. So that has been one of our biggest challenges. When they get to a community and they don't have a hydrant to give them that uninterrupted water supply, what they do is after the water is depleted in the tender or in the vehicle, then they have to drive to this place. So imagine if this is the only hydrant that is working in the Greater Accra region, they are fighting fire at Adenta and the water is finished, then they have to drive all the way. The fire will not be waiting for anybody. This one is flowing.
So is this non-stop?
Is it?
Non-stop. Are you assured that always this will be flowing?
No, it's not always. That is the challenge that we have with the water company. There are times that water doesn't pass through this. If this area and then you don't have water in your pipe, flowing in the pipe, means that the hydrant will not flow at all, because it's dependent on the main water source. So at times you come here, you open it, you don't even get water at all. But today it is flowing, means that in case of any eventuality, we will be able to access this one.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have a water reservoir? Do you have a tank?
We don't. We depend solely on this. We don't have a tank. Yeah.
So whose responsibility is this?
It is the water company that is responsible for the installation and servicing of this hydrant. They are to ensure that they are readily available for the fire service to use. That is why you and I pay 1% for our water consumption bill to water company to be used for the installation and servicing of water the hydrants. Yes.
I think the hydrants that.
Well, the Ghana Water Company is yet to react to the claim by the fire service, but President of the Ghana Institute of Safety and Environmental Professionals, Nana Anoamehe, is blaming the fire service, arguing they are doing little to nothing to ensure there is adequate water supply.
Let me equate them to the army. The army defends the country. So they go to war to defend the country called Ghana, isn't it? When the army is not at war, what do they do? They train their men and put them on fitness level so that when there is war, they will not be found wanting. It's the same thing that the act that sets up the Ghana National Fire Service mandates that they should prevent fire. So their prevention strategy is to be able to ensure that the tools that they need to fight fire is available to them at all times.
But how much can they do when there are fire hydrants? Fire hydrants are supposed to have water running through it. How much can they do when the water is not running through it?
You see, Gifty, sometimes I wonder why we pay for people's comfort to go and live in bungalows, D8, and gardeners, houseboys, cooks, and all that to boot. Yet they go out there to enjoy the privileges on the sweat of the taxpayer. Why am I saying this? Why do we sit down and say that the hydrants are not working? So you, as a chief fire officer, what do? You think out of the box. Because if Ghana Water Company, who's supposed to provide you with the hydrant, is not living up to its responsibility, what do? Do you also fold your arms and say, well, Ghana Water is not giving us hydrants that are the water running through them, so we sit down and wait. So when there's fire, then you are portioning the blame to Ghana Fire Service.
So you're putting the blame squarely on the Ghana National Fire Service?
Yes.
Watching Joy News Prime, up next is international news. On to the rest of our stories. A group calling itself Supporting Staff of the National Service Scheme are calling on the President-elect Nana Akufo-Addo to review some last-minute appointments they claim were made by the National Service Secretariat. According to the group, the recruitment in the last 2 weeks constitutes a breach of agreement and is unfair to the supporting staff who have been holding the positions for the past 10 years. They made this call at a news conference in Accra on Tuesday. And as Menu has more in this report.
The group consists of 125 members drawn from 6 regions, including the 3 regions of the North, the Western, Central, and Bonahafo region. President of the group, Nuruddin Ahmed Tete, says they are disappointed that the NSS did not keep its promise, went ahead to recruit others in spite of the agreement they had reached some years ago.
It has come to our confirmed notice that our acting executive director has and is issuing appointment letters to people against assurances given to the current supporting staff of the scheme who have served the Secretariat and this country from 2 to 10 years. The current supporting staff were given assurances by the scheme through our regional directors that should there be any opportunity for permanent recruitment, we will be considered first after being asked to take over during the unfortunate mass dismissal in the scheme. Agreements reached between the scheme spearheaded by Dr. Michael White and the current supporting staff of the scheme do not appear to have been kept by the head and management of the scheme, but has gone on an unemployment spree and issuing appointment letters. These appointment letters are being issued in the name of securing job for his NDC party and family members, as against assurances made to the current supporting staff who have served the scheme and our beloved country diligently over the years.
They accused the executive director of the National Service Secretariat, Dr. Michael White, of unilaterally taking the decision to undertake these recruitment.
What pains us most is that some of his new appointees completed their national service last year, whilst others are yet to complete their extension. Now, all the current supporting staff would have to go home because of the action of the acting executive director, Dr. Michael White. This action was unilaterally taken by Dr. Michael White against the orders of the Public Service Commission against the orders of the Public Service Commission. And we have evidence to this effect. This is a letter written to Dr. Michael White from the Public Service Commission with reference number AB 293/349/01A. And this is the evidence that we have.
Let's talk about your level of engagement with the board of the National Service, the executive director himself, Dr. Michael White. What has been the level of engagement and what are the responses you've had so far from him?
You cannot get time to speak to the executive director. You speak to the regional director. You only go there when the issue is so urgent. So the regional director who represents the executive director says that, hold on, we have taken your application letter. You will be invited for interview. You cannot rush and go to head office whilst the regional director has not given you a go-ahead or he's not aware of it. So the representation and then assurance were given through the regional directors. And as a district director, your immediate supervisor is your regional director.
But just for clarification, though, throughout this period that you've been holding the fort in the district offices, were your salaries and whatever financial commitment there were they being paid as expected?
The aggrieved supporting staff across country are taking 350 Ghana cedis, the same allowance that the national service personnel are taking.
Was that the agreement when you were brought on board?
It is termed in our parlance as voluntary. So you are a voluntary staff. So that is what you'll be taking till the government the scheme gets clearance for you to get appointment.
The group is therefore calling on the president-elect and the incumbent government to review these last-minute recruitment.
At this time, we, the current supporting staff, are confused as to what will become of us. And we are pleading with the incoming government led by the president-elect, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to review this last-minute appointment by Dr. Michael White.
Ernest Menu for Joy News.
Meanwhile, PRO of the National Service Secretariat, Ambrose Ntriwa Jr., says the Secretariat had already completed interviews at the time the injunction was placed on the process.
Well, I am not too sure whether there are any members of those who have been employed or who have been recruited as having been members of any campaign team. I don't know about that.
Okay.
The truth of the matter is that some adverts were floated in the newspapers for people to apply, and a number of young Ghanaians did apply. About 35 or so of people who have been engaged to hold the fort at the various regional and district secretariats got through the recruitment processes and then got actually recruited. Again, I am not sure about the other allegation that things were done unilaterally. What I know is that legally the Act of National Service Scheme Act 426 of 1980, if you check Section 16, mandates the board to engage such persons as the board may deem necessary for the day-to-day running of the scheme. So the board actually, at one of its meetings, approved the kind of recruitment that have been made so far. As to whether or not this was done unilaterally by one person is something that I will not be able to speak to.
Watching Johnny's Prime, we're taking a break, after which we'll bring you entertainment.